On this episode of You Should Be Watching, we'll be talking about Westworld Season 3. We're also talking about Marvel movies getting new release dates, and also we're going to discuss the best and most underrated Batman movies. That's this week on You Should Be Watching. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of You Should Be Watching. This is episode 6, and today me and Ryan are joined by Tamoor. Hey Tamoor, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
You're sitting right next to me, but I'm looking into a camera.
Yeah, it's very strange.
We need like a behind the scenes. This is awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know, me and Tamoor are roommates. You've probably seen Tam on our Westworld breakdowns, but if you're not watching our Westworld breakdowns, that's where you can usually find him on this channel. But Tam, if people are not familiar with you, what do you do and who are you?
I am Tamoor Hussain. I am currently, I believe I'm the acting managing editor of GameSpot. Yeah. So unfortunately, recently Peter Brown left us and went to different jobs, and I am his stand-in for now. I mainly do game stuff, but I have been doing entertainment forever, really, since before GameSpot Universe was a thing. It was,
right. Yeah, when I got here, you were already making videos for the channel.
Yeah, and then a great team formed around the Universe brand, and you guys have kind of run with it, and I pop in every now and then and do breakdowns, and did GameSpot of Thrones and Westworld and Black Mirror, and I'll talk about anime and Batman here and there. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's a good segue. We're going to be talking about Batman later today, but first we have to ask you a very important question. What are 3 shows or movies that would explain your personality?
I'm going to go 3 movies.
Okay.
So the first one is Demolition Man.
Yes.
Good
It's
job,
a very
Tam.
specific version of Demolition Man that only I have access to.
Please explain this version of the movie.
So in Demolition Man, which I feel like is my favorite movie of all time, it's almost a perfect film. But there's one small part which ruins it. And it's a scene in which Wesley Snipes makes a problematic...
Yes. This is
not
horrible.
a joke. It's not even a joke. It's a response to something. So a group of people who enter. I won't describe it, but people who have seen it will know it. And it feels kind of malicious because it also feels improvised. Mm-hmm. So I have a version where I edited it myself to smoothly transition between 2 scenes and cut that joke out. And it is known as the Demolition Man non-problematic edition.
Very nice.
So that is my favorite movie of all time.
I love
So
it.
explain why it's your favorite movie of all time.
I wish I could get... It's a game. It's a film that I watched when I was young, and it has everything that I kind of want in it. It's this fully formed but not over-explained future vision of the world that is bizarre. One where Arnold Schwarzenegger was the president and Sylvester
completely
Stallone.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's not bizarre.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone is like, what? So in this universe, Sylvester Stallone, the person, had a rivalry with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So at the same time as being John Spartan, Sylvester Stallone exists in that universe as an actor.
I love it.
That's the only way that rivalry can work.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just like that kind of stuff. Simon Phoenix is a fantastic villain.
Yeah.
And like this whole like transplanted from an age before where they are coming in and bringing up this kind of like rough and ready mentality. It kind of reminds me of when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of American like shows like the OC and various other ones that are set in like schools situations. And the whole like clique, people being bullied, it seemed very built into American culture. And I always used to think to myself, I would love to exist in that hierarchy as a British person, having gone, because like none of that shit would fly with me. I don't know if we're allowed to swear, but like,
It's fine.
anytime some sort of jock tried anything, I know without a doubt I would ruin that person. So it's that kind of same mentality where someone from a rough and ready kind of environment and a world and time appears when everyone's uptight and trying to do this thing and just causes havoc. And it's both a good guy doing that and a bad guy doing that.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun to watch.
And I love how Taco Bell won the wars and is now the last restaurant standing.
Yeah. So the second movie that I think would describe me is Demolition Man, the Taco Bell edition.
Wow, damn. Incredible choices so
That
far.
is like that is the second best movie of all time.
'Cause you like to live Moss.
Non-problematic edition. Because I like to live Moss. Now I appreciate more than ever that I've had Taco Bell. So like that's like a version of the film that doesn't have my cut in it, but also it's the original version that I saw. Actually, it's not the original version. The third film on my list is Demolition Man, the Pizza Hut cut. So if you don't know, in the UK, Taco Bell was changed to Pizza Hut.
Why did they do that?
Wait, what?
Is it the
I had
same
no,
food?
I had no idea about this.
Did
I
they
had
show
no
the
clue.
same food? Yeah.
I don't think they're eating pizza on the thing. I can't remember because I've since watched the Taco Bell one over and over again. But Taco Bell doesn't exist in the UK, or it didn't. I think there's one or two now, but it never used to when I was a kid.
I'm so sorry.
Change it to Pizza Hut.
So they changed it
Just
to
for
that.
the UK version?
Just for the UK. But the dubbing is so bad that you can tell it's wrong.
I
So
need to
you
see
can
this.
see,
I need
like,
to see this.
He's like, I would like you to join us for dinner at. You can see his mouth say Taco Bell, but it goes
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
Wow.
And
That's
it's
incredible.
It's just incredible. So first film is Demolition Man, non-problematic edition. Second one is Demolition Man, Taco Bell cut. Third film is Demolition Man, Pizza Hut cut.
Oh my gosh, that's great. This is the first April edition of this podcast.
There's,
That's the
there's
answer to the
been no
guest
better
question.
introduction than Tam's introduction to a podcast. This was awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, next segment is What's on Your TV, where we recommend what we've been watching lately. So Ryan, what are you watching right now?
Lately, well, guys, I have some news to break to you guys. I have a new puppy in the house, an 8-week-old. I will show you some
You've
video.
been watching the puppy.
I've been watching the puppy literally every second. Have not been sleeping much, but I've also been watching a ton of puppy training videos on YouTube. Just going, what can I learn now? What can I learn?
What was the most helpful one you've seen so far?
We're doing crate training, and it's really stressful thing. Trying to get a dog to obey you, and his name is Finn, and he's really cute. He's cute as hell. But he just doesn't really understand me yet, or I don't understand him yet. It's a little bit of both. So we're doing our best to kind of just slowly not get frustrated and all that kind of stuff. We don't have any kids, but this seems extremely hard, and it's just so challenging.
Yeah.
When I'm not watching puppy videos, though, guys, I finished the full season of Ozark season 3. The season just came out on Netflix. My wife and I finished it.
Do you recommend it?
Highly recommend it. Yes. Obviously, if you've seen the first, you should definitely watch, season 1 and season 2. But it just upped the stakes even further. It's craziness after craziness. Jason Bateman's great. Julia Garner is awesome. Laura Linney. The cast is incredible. It's dramatic. It's action packed. It's a little bit over the top, but it is really, really good. And that was a good little departure from just watching puppy videos, training videos all day. So, and it ends. I'm not going to say no spoilers, but it ends on a fantastic cliffhanger. So I can't wait. I can't wait for season 4.
How does it compare to the previous seasons?
I still probably think that the first season was the best. I feel like every successive season is just trying to kind of like up the ante even more and to get a little bit more ridiculous, a little bit more over the top. But like it still is like I'm still intrigued by the characters and kind of definitely like invested in the stories that they're telling. And it just gets kind of just crazier and crazier into the drug trade that's going down in Mexico and across the U.S. as well. So Yeah, it's kind of it's at a part now where it's like I don't know how much longer they could draw the story out, but it's been a lot of fun to watch, and it's just high octane, pretty just crazy, like and really good characters, like really good character development from even like characters on the satellite on the rim of like the main characters, Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, the family that they're portrayed. But yeah, just I highly recommend that show. I'm also on my list is another show on Amazon Prime called 000, about like
I haven't heard of that one.
yeah, it's like international drug trade, kind of like the different aspects, the buyers, the sellers, the users, everything like that. But it's like next in my queue, but I literally have no time to watch anything except for doing work, editing videos, watching a little bit of Westworld, and puppy training. That's all I have time for right now.
So I just watched Onward on Disney Plus, and I got emotional. No surprise, it's a Pixar movie, right? But it was really good, and I completely overlooked this movie when it came out in theaters. I mean, given we were already worried about coronavirus during the time, and it was less than a month ago, I think, that it came out in theaters, and then they pushed it early to digital release, and then it's on Disney Plus as of a couple of days ago. So I think that was a really good move on their part to get this great movie out to people, and just like this newer movie for parents to let their kids watch right now. But it was really good. I think it caters to the Dungeons and Dragons crowd, anyone who's into magic and anything along those lines in terms of like role playing. And but it's also got a very good cast. Tom Holland and Chris Pratt were really good in it. But it just really struck me emotionally, and just like I teared up a little bit. I try not to, but I definitely teared up towards the end. But it was so good. But the premise of it, if you haven't even thought about watching it, and it is good for adults too, it's not just for families. The premise behind it is about these two elf brothers, and one of them, the younger one, played by Tom Holland, never got to meet his dad. And so on his 16th birthday, he gets a gift, and it's a spell to see his dad for an entire 24 hours, but it doesn't complete. And it's only half of him. So in the poster, you see just these legs, and it's so weird. It's like these disembodied legs. But that's like half his dad. So they're trying to find this gem so that they can do the spell and complete the spell so they can hang out with their dad. So it's a very like personal story, but it's really good. And I really enjoyed it. And even though it's about like at the core of it's a story about dealing with the loss of a parent, it's a very fun film and just a very heartwarming film. So highly recommend it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think this is such a weird question to ask given our circumstances? Because I'll ask it, and I hope that people will just take for granted that I'm not trying to be insensitive.
Yeah.
But do you think that the recent circumstances and the way that movie companies have been forced to have a shorter window between cinema release and digital release will permanently affect the way they approach these kind of release cadences going forward? Because it's got to be working out okay for them, right? Onward is an example of that, right?
Yeah.
It was in cinemas for a very short period of time. I imagine it did okay there, and then it appeared in digital very quickly after. And I imagine it's going to do well there. Do you think that they'll see the light and be like, oh, we should shorten the time stuff is at cinema so they can watch stuff in the comfort of their homes, and we'll be better off for it?
Yeah, we were kind of discussing this last week, but I think that it's a completely whole new experiment now. I think everyone's going to try different things and see what they can do. But yeah, NBC Universal releasing those movies quickly that were barely in theaters, and movies that are coming out soon to digital right away because everyone's stuck inside. But yeah, I think other studios are going to be paying attention to these different examples of how things are being brought in early, and they'll probably copy each other and bring things in earlier. But I think it's to the benefit of everyone right now to bring these newer movies or movies that didn't get a lot of attention to digital earlier.
Totally.
I think it's working for Onward. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I think that obviously it's a unique situation that we're currently in where there are no other options outside, right? So like there's a lot of attention on these digital releases of these movies that were in the theaters for a short amount of time or didn't even make it to the theaters, right? And it'll be interesting to see how that changes, if people will still want to stay home and watch something digitally, if they still have the option to go to the theater and like make a day of it or make a date out of it and go get, your popcorn and candy and stuff like that. But I think it's an opportunity, also obviously unfortunate opportunity, but like it's going to change the landscape of how we consume and watch movies in general, because we know that the system is in place, the distribution is there, everyone can easily just stay home, and the quality is awesome to just be there on your couch and watch a brand new movie that just came out. I think there's still going to be obviously people that want to go see stuff in the theaters, though. The big blockbuster movies, IMAX, filmed with IMAX cameras, and those are always going to be there. But this is definitely going to change things.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a split audience. It's like some people are just gonna be like, I gotta see this in theaters. Like, this is a movie that I need to see on as big a screen as possible. And it depends on the movie release, right? But then, I think with animated films, sometimes people are just like, I'll just wait till that's out on digital if it's coming out in digital in 2 months.
Have either of you guys watched Invisible Man?
No.
Oh, okay, because that's like one of the examples.
But I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah, that's one of the examples that you can, like, obviously we can get at home. It's coming soon, I believe, right?
I think it's out already.
It's out already, yeah.
I saw ads on my Fire TV for it.
I saw people grumbling about it on Twitter because it was like $20 to watch it
for 48 hours.
Yeah, for really, that's a lot.
It is a lot. But yeah, I guess it is. There are good examples and bad examples of how you'd want to spend that $20, for an at-home release. But I think that people will pay a little bit more if they've kind of run out of things to watch. In my case, I'll watch anything besides puppy videos right now. I'll literally, I kind of want to get away and just watch like a horror movie, even if it's like a B or C horror movie.
Go for
Cujo.
it. Oh no, dog, not dog horror movies.
Oh, Tam, why would you do this to me?
Pet Cemetery, I heard is delightful.
Oh God, you guys are the worst. Please don't.
Sorry. So, Tam, you've been watching a lot of Westworld, as you mentioned. How is that going? How are you enjoying this season?
I'm really, really enjoying it. So, Westworld is the most consistent thing that I've watched in the last... Actually, like, I watched Tiger King. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited that there seems to be a new episode coming out.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
I think all of us watched the whole thing already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would the new episode be about? Did you read any details?
Jeff, right? Jeff Lowe.
Yeah. So it's mainly focused on Jeff. He's the one who kind of announced it, right?
Yeah.
Weird.
And he's an interesting character.
I don't know what to make of him.
I
I hate calling these people characters because that's what they are, but they're all like humans and potential criminals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he an interesting person.
He definitely had it out for Joe Exotic, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, none of them are good people, but he had it out for him.
Yeah, so I watched that, and I've been neck deep in a video game review. But the one thing I came out for was Westworld, and I am really enjoying this season. Ryan gets to edit Lucy and I's breakdowns, which you can watch on the Against What Universe. But I think you can agree that we're all pretty positive on it. Season 2 was up and down. It had some of the best. Yeah, it had some of the best episodes in the series as a whole. But as a story and a narrative arc, season 2 is quite a mess and convoluted and boring in parts. And I think they were trying to be smarter than they needed to be. And for this, they've kind of scaled it back, season 3. And it's just a smarter, sharper, more like focused story, which I really like. And I'm enjoying each episode more than the last. The first one I thought was a strong start to the season.
Agreed.
And then we had the episode with Maeve. And then episode 3 was like a little more information on Serac, the big bad guy. And then episode 4, which is out now, was, I'm not going to spoil it in case people have seen it. You can watch our breakdown if you want to spoil it. But it's more of what Dolores is up to. Big revelations and more about Serac and the world and where things are going. And so by keeping it like simple, but really relying on the heritage of the things that they set up, I think they're doing a really good job at keeping me hooked at least, and keeping me coming back and excited to see what's going more. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I'm one episode behind you, but I've really been enjoying this, and it does feel like they took a look at season 2 and they're like, what can we learn from this? We lost a lot of people. How do we bring more of the broader audience back? Because I think they kept the core Westworld fan base for, the majority of them, but I think they lost a lot of people. So I think they're able to bring people back in by making it a little more straightforward this season. Ryan, you've been editing behind the scenes, so how have you been enjoying the show?
I agree on all fronts with you guys, but I get another glimpse. I get to edit Tam and Lucy as well, so I get all the fun stuff. This is stuff that doesn't even get to get seen elsewhere. And Tam, I love his takes on music. Okay, if you guys haven't been watching, go to GameSpot Universe, watch all of our breakdowns, because you're not only getting excellent analysis on the episode itself, but this guy's just recommending like amazing albums to listen to afterwards. He's dropping all, like, we have this similar taste in music, so it's been fun. Editing Lucy and Tam and all the wild, wacky ideas that we kind of all put together. But the highlight so far, I mean, Sean Paul tweeted out our video, Tam.
We do have to bring this up. So, I mean, there's not a lot of editing that goes into this podcast, but you need to show a screenshot in the video version of this podcast of
Yes.
Sean Paul tweeting out the video of Tam and Lucy.
I don't know. That's
Which
pretty
is
high
very
point. That's
cool.
a high point for us. Westworld season 3. That's my high point right now.
I like to imagine that he's now still watching the breakdowns, and it's
Yes.
like, I'm into this show. I like this Westworld thing.
I
Oh, no,
like Westworld.
Yeah, he definitely is. You got him hooked, Tam. Good job.
So, to note, there are only 8 episodes this season. So, discuss. What do you think? 8 episodes. Do you think that they were limited to 8 episodes? Do you think they had enough and they just wanted to stop there?
I'm trying to be optimistic, and
Yeah.
I'm taking it as them knowing this is the amount of episodes we need to tell this story. I feel like if this was Netflix, I'd be worried, because they mess around with length size and often elongate series just for the sake of hitting a number. But I've got more faith in HBO. As I say that, I remember The Outsider and how that kind of petered off halfway through and they really dragged it out. But I feel like for their prestige shows like Westworld, Watchmen, they know when to quit. And I feel like this is the Nolans and Joy and the rest of the writing team and production team knowing this is how many episodes we need to tell this story. So I'm quite optimistic that they have a plan and they have a banger of an ending lined up, and it's 8 episode is all they needed. So that's keeping me hooked and keeping me excited for where it's going.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I think it's a positive thing. Like you said, I think HBO has a good track record with these things. And to be honest, I don't like the American style of like limited series are like a lot of episodes, and then a lot of the British, I mean, Tam, you know better than me, but a lot of the British shows in recent, last 20 years have been always just as long as the story goes, and it could be 6 episodes or 6, mini movies or 8. But like, I think that they took a lot of, like you said earlier, a lot of feedback from season 2, and it was just like kind of all over the place, the timelines here and there and what's going on, and it kind of just like simplified the story. Let's move it all off of the theme park, out of the park. Let's move it all forward, and let's kind of like wrap up the story, not get too crazy, and kind of simplify it as much as you can, this show, and just make it easier for viewers. So like, I don't think it's a bad thing that it's 8 episodes.
All right, the next section is This Just In. This is where we talk about the latest news in the last week. So first up, we have delayed Marvel movies getting new release dates. So Black Widow, originally arriving on May 1st, has now been moved to November 6th. And because that was the original date for Eternals, this is just a trickle-down effect. This is just a domino effect. All of the upcoming MCU movies have been shifted, eventually leading to Captain Marvel 2 being reassigned to July 8th, 2022. So Black Widow moves forward to November. Eternals is in February. Shang-Chi is in May. Doctor Strange 2 is in November of 2021. Thor: Love and Thunder, unfortunately, February 28, 2022. And I think that's the biggest loss here, guys, is that we have to wait now until 2022 for Thor 4. And I'm very sad about that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm
Huge
devastated.
bummer. That
Devastated.
I think that was all of our favorite, right? We were all looking forward to that one the most.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, number 4 in my movies that to know me is Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, he
It's
loves
one of the
Ragnarok.
best. It's one of the best MCU. It's one of the best MCU films, like
So good.
out of all of them. Yeah.
Agreed. And then Captain Marvel 2, July 8th, 2022. But I think, this is necessary because of what's going on in the world right now, and everything's just kind of shifted. But yeah, I want some more MCU, and I hope that it continues to be at the level that it's been at. Like, I know this is a new day and age after Avengers is over. How do you guys feel that these movies will be received after the end of Avengers?
I think it's going to be interesting because it's almost like a reset for them. They're starting all over again with new characters, and they've shown that they can take an obscure, like, mainstream character, or a character that is obscure within the mainstream. Like, people know and love Iron Man and Tony Stark now, but the reason he was the first character they used is because literally no one cared. It was almost like Marvel dumping them and being like, use this character if you can make this work, whatever. And they did it. So we have faith in them to do that, and I'm excited to see them do that with new characters. The Eternals cast looks amazing. The movie that I'm most excited about, Blade, is not around yet, but I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Mahershala! I think he's going to be a really good Blade.
They could not have picked a more perfect person for that role.
I freaked out at Comic-Con. Ryan was there when I heard about Mahershala.
I think we all did.
We all freaked out.
We all like freaked out. I remember. Like, whoa, we didn't see that one coming at all. But
and then immediately after, Wesley Snipes tweeted at him and was like, get it, brother. Good luck.
Yep. Support from Blade himself.
Totally.
I think nothing from Kirk Sticky Fingers Jones, though. The other Blade. People forget that he played.
I forgot.
He played. The TV show was actually decent, but Sticky Fingers from the rap group Onyx, which you should listen to their album. Last Day.
Another music rec. See, I love it.
All right. So next story that we have here is that the Birds of Prey director has an idea for the sequel. So follow-up has not been confirmed yet for this movie, but Kathy Yan said that if given the opportunity, it would focus on Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. So she said, I would love to see Poison Ivy, and I would certainly love to see the relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. So that's what she told The Wrap. What do you guys think? Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, would you watch that?
Hell yes. But guys, I have something to say. I have to admit, I did not see Birds of Prey yet. I need to watch this immediately.
It's on digital now.
I know. I have no excuse. Now I have no excuse.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm just gonna let this puppy grow up and just do its own thing, and I'm just gonna go watch Birds of Prey. I need to see this because I've heard great things. You guys have told me, Chastity, you've told me for weeks now that it was a great movie. Me and Tam saw it. It's good.
Me and Tam went to the screening, and we both really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I like it. It's got a lot of style. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. It knows what it wants to be, and it nails that. I think Pamela Isley is a perfect new character to bring into that universe. She has the same kind of confidence and self-assuredness as Harley eventually gets to. So there'd be an interesting kind of like couple of characters to bounce off of each other, but maybe eventually find an understanding within each other. I think it could be like the story of two characters who could potentially rule this city and like take over, understanding how they can work together and be friends. And that's ultimately what the Birds of Prey kind of comic series is about as well. Like they finding each other and finding comfort and companionship and trust within each other, but also getting up to no good, which is cool, and I love it.
Agreed. All right, the next segment is You Should Be Watching. So before we jump into the best and most underrated Batman movies, we're going to talk a little bit about The Batman, which is in production or was in production. It's been paused due to the pandemic. So how do we feel about this movie and how it's been shaping up? It's got a really great cast. It's got Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell as Penguin, Andy Serkis as Alfred, Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, Paul Dano as Riddler, I thought was really good casting, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, John Turturro as Falcone. What do you guys think of that cast and how this movie's shaping up?
I think it's a fantastic cast. The only question I have is Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's Penguin is a question mark. That is a big
I'm
question
sure
mark.
he could do it, but I just don't. There's not many roles in which I'm like, wow, Colin Farrell is great. He's had a rough few recent movies, and like he was Bullseye at one point, if I remember correctly.
That's a long.
Yes, he
we try to forget about that one.
Yes,
Yeah, that was awful. But the rest of the cast, I'm very, very confident in. Like, I think Robert Pattinson's very underrated. I mean, people are loving him now, given, I think he was in Lighthouse, was it?
Yep.
He's great in that. And he's done some stuff, smaller indie stuff.
Good
that has
Time.
been
Good Time,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Safdie brothers. Good.
Circus is Circus. He's incredible. I think that he's as good an actor out of the performance capture as he is in. He was great as Ulysses Claw in the MCU. Zoe Kravitz, amazing. Like, she's fantastic. Paul Dano's amazing.
Paul Dano's such
Jeffrey
a perfect
Wright.
choice for Ridley.
Yeah. Jeffrey Wright plays Bernard
Yep.
in Westworld. Got a lot of love for him.
He'll be a good Gordon, I think.
And
Yeah, I
same.
can see it.
And John Turturro, great
Yeah.
choice as well. I'm excited, and I love that the suit that they've shown. It looks very much like the Arkham City,
Yes.
Knight era of Batman suits from the Rocksteady games. So I'm excited to see that kind of unfold. The car looks great. The Batmobile looks amazing. I'm sad that it's gonna probably be a while since till we watch it, but
It's going to be a while. Yeah.
take all the time you need.
Just make it good. Just make it good. Ryan, what do you think? Are you excited for the Batman?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm super excited. I agree with everything Tam said. I had a lot of friends kind of reacting when they saw that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, like the Twilight guy.
Because they haven't seen his smaller movies.
I know. Yeah. It's not the Twilight guy. Like he has such range. He's an incredible actor. I have no doubts that he will do a great job as Batman. I'm super stoked on it. And like, yeah, there's no rush. Like, take your time, make sure it's great. I think the cast is incredible. I think they're gonna do a really good job, and I believe Tam can correct me, but I believe from what I've heard, it's gonna be more of like a young Batman in Bruce Wayne in like detective mode, as opposed to like what we've seen in the other films.
They've not actually said it outright, any sort of plot synopsis, but based on the way he looks, he's kind of like the behind the scenes leaked screenshots of the production. It shows him to be like taking battle damage, and the way his suit looks, it looks a bit rudimentary. I think it's more of a early career Dark Knight detective more than a like superhero origin story. This isn't going to be Ben Affleck style or
Thank God.
Christian Bale. Yeah, I think they're trying to do like not the DC Black Label, but close to it.
Yeah.
A little more grounded and a little more like cerebral, I hope.
Yeah.
So it should be early days Batman.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about it. All right, so that leads us to the subject in question, the best and most underrated Batman movies. So we're going to be answering which is the best Batman movie and which Batman movie do you think is underrated. Ryan, I'm going to start with you for the first question. Which is the best Batman movie and why?
Guys, tell me if this makes me like super basic, but I think The Dark Knight is the best
doesn't.
Batman movie.
No.
Is that like
No,
this?
it does not.
Okay.
No, it does not make you basic, because if that seems like an obvious answer, then it might be the obvious answer for best live action Batman movie. Like,
Yeah.
I think just universally, critically, and just from the widest audiences, if you ask all of those people, the top answer would be The Dark Knight. I think that's just clear.
I think just seeing it in the theater, I had never seen like a superhero comic book movie like hit me like that. It felt very like realistic in the sense, like it felt like this. It didn't feel so like out of this world or something that like something crazy, something super like that couldn't happen. Like it felt like very, very grounded in the reality that Christopher Nolan created. And the performances obviously of Heath Ledger in particular. It sticks with you, and it's one of those movies where I'm like, there are some parts where you're just like, okay, it's a little bit shaky here and there, but overall, just like epic. Just like I don't know how to say it else. I enjoy almost everything that Christopher Nolan does. So The Dark Knight was basically, I think, one of the best Batman movies, if not the best like superhero movies.
I agree. It's not, like you said, it's not just a great Batman movie. It's not just a great superhero movie. It's just a great film.
Yeah.
Like in general, it's a well-crafted, well-directed, well-acted film. And yeah, there's a lot of credit due to Heath Ledger's performance. And that is just something that you'll never forget. And that's his finest work, to be honest. But yeah, it's something he'll always be remembered for. But you just cannot forget watching that movie. But I also think this is not a negative, but it's also so heavy and it's so intense that I find it a little bit harder to rewatch because I feel like I need to be in the right mood.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just don't want something that dark, especially like right now. I'm kind of bummed out once in a while. I probably wouldn't rewatch Dark Knight right now, but I would probably rewatch Batman Begins. I feel like I've watched Batman Begins way more times than I've watched The Dark Knight. And I don't know. I do love origin stories, and I do love just that whole path that Christian Bale took, and then he was with Liam Neeson, and I just love watching that story unfold over and over again. So I really liked that film a lot. So I would say that would be up there. That at least would be top 4, top 5 for Batman Begins.
Have you heard the bit of trivia about Batman Begins that Ken Watanabe still doesn't know that he wasn't Ra's al Ghul?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
For real, I did not know this.
Goodness. That's incredible.
I'm not 100% sure if it's actually true, but
I
it's
hope
definitely been reported a bunch of times.
Wow. And so he's just walking around. It's like, I was Ra's al Ghul.
I was Ra's al Ghul, a demon head.
The
Wow.
funniest thing,
amazing.
the funniest thing from the Dark Knights that still kills me, and we've seen the meme everywhere, but in the hospital scene when Two-Face doesn't realize that it's Joker underneath the mask. Tam, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and then he's all surprised when he takes off this little mask, and you're just like, oh, that just kills me all the time. It's like, bro, it's Joker right
just
there.
that look of shock. It's like, it's such a good meme. All right, so we brought you here to talk about Batman because you are our Batman expert, Tam. So what is the actual best Batman movie?
So you can tell me if this makes me sound like a pretentious douche, but
makes you sound like you know what you're talking.
My favorite, I think the best one is actually Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
92, 93,
yeah,
right?
that's,
Animated film, yeah.
Yeah, based on the Batman the Animated Series, starring Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. Iconic series for definitely everyone here, but for a lot of Batman fans who came up watching the cartoons. Very much defined Batman for an era, whether that's visually or like the voice you hear. When I read comic books for Batman, which I do frequently, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice. Sidebar, I got Kevin Conroy on to wish me a happy birthday once.
Cool. You have to
which
see
was
this
my
video.
favorite thing ever. But that story is one of the most interesting analysis and kind of depictions of Batman Bruce Wayne at his most vulnerable. And it's every complicated part of that character, the fears, the kind of ambitions, and everything he stands for, but also every weakness he does his best to avoid, laid out, picked apart, really analyzed and put back together in a fascinating story about like love, revenge, ambition, and it's just visually stunning. I wholeheartedly think that Paul Dini is among the best Batman writers ever to have existed. You can see anything he touches with Batman does amazing, whether that's the animated series, Mask of the Phantasm. He did Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And those are amazing Batman stories.
Incredible
and then
Batman
he also
games,
and he also wrote a book called The Dark Knight, which is not about Batman. It's about him walking home one night and being attacked by a criminal, and it ruined his life, and he found the strength to bounce back from that through Batman.
Wow.
And it's a story about him finding strength in the character. And it's everything he touches is incredible. I think that that particular movie, Mask of the Phantasm, is an essential watch if you are a fan of Batman or even have a remote understanding or interest in Batman. It's just a fascinating and really true to the character depiction of him.
It's a great answer. All right, now let's switch to most underrated. So just the ones that don't get enough love. I'm going to toss it to Ryan first. Ryan, what's the most underrated Batman movie?
I don't know if this is underrated, but maybe overlooked with everything else that we talk about. But I really liked Batman Returns, the second one that Tim Burton did. I mean, maybe it's properly rated. I don't know. I think a lot of people talk about like the first. A lot of people, talk about like the iconic characters like the Joker and all the performances that we've seen on live action. But I feel like Batman Returns, Burton had the cachet after the first one to kind of do some wilder things, some different stuff, get a little wacky. The villain, you get to see more of the villains in the universe, and I had a lot of fun. I love Michael Keaton as Batman. So whenever I do stumble upon that being on cable, like I'll check out, I'll hang with that one a lot more than I would think to, because I just remember like fond memories of how it kind of opened up that wild world back then.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of really good performances in that movie. I absolutely loved Catwoman in that movie, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I think she was great. Yeah, and yeah, Penguin was good too. Good stuff. I want to go with, no one likes this movie, but I really like Batman Forever. I think it's great. I like Batman Forever. Kiss from a Rose is a great song. That's a fantastic soundtrack. I really like Batman Forever a lot. I think I just love how hammy the villains were, and I think that there was a really good chemistry / duo of Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones that I just very much enjoyed. And I like Nicole Kidman too. And Val Kilmer was probably one of my favorite Batmen growing up, but I was probably right around that correct age to like just be a fan of whatever was being handed to me. So it's part nostalgia. I know that much, but I think that it's overlooked. I think it's fun. I don't think it's as bad as people say.
Tam, what do you think?
All right, Tam, what do you think?
I'm bringing the animated representation here. So Dark Knight Returns was adapted, obviously one of the greatest Batman stories of all time. In fact, maybe the Batman story of our time. Adapted into an animated movie with, I believe it's Paul Weller was the... I'm not sure. RoboCop, whoever played RoboCop.
Okay.
And that one villain in that season of 24. But yes. I think it's Paul Weller, something like that. He voiced Bruce Wayne Batman as the older version from that story, from Frank Miller's story. And it's just a fantastic adaptation. I remember watching the mud pit scene where he fights the mutant leader and says that iconic line, this is a surgeon's table, as he's systematically destroying the mutant leader while all his troops and underlings watch and getting chills. And that story is amazing, the way it kind of works in Superman as a character. And Robin, an amazing version, Carrie Kelly, I think it is. Just a fantastic adaptation of the original source material, I think, that I think any Batman fan should watch again. It's just, I didn't expect it to be as good as it is, and it really was. And it made me so happy to see it that good.
Yeah, that sounds great. I still have to see that. But I also want to shout out Lego Batman movie, because that's a good film. That is a very fun movie. So I highly recommend watching it. It's just a good time. It's a feel-good film, so you probably want to watch that now. But yeah, that's it for Batman movies. The last question I have is, in the rankings I noticed for Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes, Batman and Robin was the lowest ranked / rated Batman movie. Do you agree with this? Is it actually worse than Batman v Superman?
Yes, it is worse.
Yes.
I think
they got it right.
They got it right.
They got it right. That one's horrible. That one's absolutely horrible. It's unwatchable.
Chill out. It's good. It's bad. It's terrible. All right, that's it for this episode of You Should Be Watching. So please let us know what you thought in the comments below. And if you have any questions or want suggestions for specific genres, or if you want some kind of horror movie or like a comedy, let us know. in the comments as well. You can also email us at ysbw@gamespot.com. That's ysbw@gamespot.com. And you can also listen to us. We're on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. And follow us on Twitter as well. I'm at Chastity_V. Tam?
I'm at Tamoor H.
Ryan?
And I'm at Ryan Eric P. Please, if you have any advice on raising a puppy, send it my way.
All right. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.